February 22nd, 2026. Before sunrise, the mountains of Tapalpa were wrapped in mist. A peaceful tourist town in the state of Jalisco, known for weekend travelers, stone streets, and quiet cabins hidden among pine forests. But that morning, something was different. Convoys moved without headlights. Soldiers advanced silently through trees wet with dew. Radios whispered, weapons locked into place. Because somewhere in these hills was one of the most hunted men on earth. The leader of the powerful cartel, Jalisco Nueva Generation, a man known simply as El Mencho. His real name, Nemesio Ceguera Cervantes. For over a decade, he had evaded capture. But on this morning, the shadows were closing in. For years, El Mencho was more myth than man. There were no recent photos, no confirmed public appearances, no interviews. The United States government placed a $5 million reward for information leading to his capture. Mexico considered him its top security threat. Yet he remained invisible. Unlike flamboyant cartel bosses before him, Mencho avoided the spotlight. No gold-plated weapons on social media, no public displays of power. His strategy was simple: operate quietly, strike violently, and never stay in one place for long. But intelligence agencies were patient. And patience, eventually, pays. February 20th, 2026. A breakthrough. Mexican intelligence intercepted communications tied to an associate connected to Mencho's romantic partner. 4 months, authorities had monitored financial movements, phone signals, and supply deliveries in rural hubs. One detail stood out: a secluded cabin complex outside Tapalpa. Security was discreet, but professional. Armed guards rotated shifts. Supplies arrived at irregular intervals. Surveillance drones confirmed unusual movement. Then came confirmation. Mencho's partner was seen entering the property. The next day, she left, but he didn't. This was the opportunity Mexico had waited years for. Before sunrise on February 22nd, units from Mexico's Army, National Guard, and Special Forces surrounded the forest. Helicopters remained at distance to avoid alerting the compound. Ground units advanced quietly through dense terrain. Then gunfire exploded through the trees. Cartel gunmen opened fire from fortified positions. Soldiers returned fire. The forest echoed with bursts of automatic weapons. 4 cartel members fell during the first clash. But El Mencho fled deeper into the woods. He knew the terrain. He had prepared escape routes. A second confrontation erupted. This time, he was cornered. Wounded. Captured alive, but critically injured. He was placed on a military aircraft bound for Mexico City. He did not survive the flight. By midday, Mexico had its headline: the most powerful cartel leader in the country was dead. News spread rapidly, and so did violence. Roadblocks appeared across at least. Vehicles burned. Armed convoys moved through highways in retaliation. Businesses closed early. Communities braced for chaos, because in cartel culture, a fallen leader must be avenged. The government declared the operation a success. But security experts warned, removing a king does not end the game. Sometimes it makes it more dangerous. To understand his rise, we go back to 1966, in the small town of Aguila, Michoacan. Aguila was poor. Opportunities were limited. Violence was common. Nemesio left school in 5th grade. He worked in agriculture. As a teenager, he guarded marijuana plantations. In 1980, seeking opportunity, he crossed into the United States illegally. But instead of the American dream, he entered organized crime. In 1992, he was arrested in San Francisco for heroin distribution. After serving time, he was deported to Mexico. That deportation changed everything. Back in Mexico, Mencho made an unexpected move. He joined a local police force. From inside the system, he studied Italiano. He learned procedures. He observed corruption. He identified weaknesses. At the same time, He strengthened his criminal connections. He married into the influential Valencia crime family. Gradually, he rose through the ranks of the Milenio Cartel, but he wanted more. When internal conflict weakened the organization, he broke away and built something new. Something more aggressive, more ambitious, more violent. The Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generation was born in the early 2010s. Unlike older cartels that relied mainly on cocaine routes, CJNG focused on synthetic drugs, methamphetamine, and fentanyl. Fentanyl, a substance roughly 50 times stronger than heroin. Just 2 milligrams can be fatal. CJNG built industrial-scale laboratories. They controlled ports. They secured chemical supply chains. They established distribution networks across the United States. Within a few years, CJNG became one of the fastest-growing cartels in history. In 2015, CJNG shocked Mexico. They shot down a military helicopter with a rocket launcher during a government operation. It was a bold message. They were not hiding. They were challenging the state. Cartel videos began appearing online, showcasing armored vehicles, heavy weapons, and uniformed fighters. CJNG wasn't just a gang. It resembled a private army. Billions flowed through drug trafficking, extortion, fuel theft, and international operations. They expanded into dozens of Mexican states. Their reach crossed borders into Europe and Asia. This was no longer a local criminal group. It was a transnational criminal enterprise. Battlemento es el imperdidenti exist in isolation. It thrived because of demand. Demand for drugs in the United States. Global chemical supply chains. Smuggling routes built decades earlier. Corruption within institutions. International trade systems that made cargo movement efficient. Experts argue cartels adapt faster than governments. When one route closes, another opens. When one leader falls, another steps forward. With Mencho gone, a power vacuum emerges. Will CJNG fragment? Will rivals attack? Will violence increase? History offers clues. When leaders like Pablo Escobar fell, cartels did not disappear. They evolved. More decentralized. More unpredictable. The war on drugs has lasted decades, and it continues. Today, the forests around Tapalpa are quiet again. Tourists walk the stone paths. Shops reopen. The morning mist rises, as it always has. But beneath that calm surface, a struggle continues. Because organized crime does not vanish overnight, it transforms. And somewhere, in another town, another forest, another hidden room, a new figure studies the system, waiting. Because when one king falls, another is already preparing to rise.